As you can see, there is not one single drop of egg yolk in there. It's got the little umbilical cord things, but that's fine. They whip perfectly. And you know how my whipping attachments are too small? So I have to do 6 eggs and 6 eggs. I have to do it in half, right? So in these 6 egg whites, instead of 3 tablespoons, just do 1 tablespoon of allulose, just to conserve the ingredients, because I know they're expensive, and it helps them kind of taste less sweet. They do start to taste a little bit too sweet to me, the 6 tablespoons in the full batch, and then you've got your cream of tartar, and this is very expensive, so no egg yolks, none. 1 tablespoon of allulose and just a half teaspoon of cream of tartar. That's it. That's all you put in it until they are completely and utterly whipped. So you can see they're slightly bubbled, not even close. You can see they have still the yellow tinge to them. The bubbles are huge. You want to be able to not see any bubbles whatsoever. You can see the bubbles are smaller, but it's still yellow. Don't you dare put the powder in now, or it'll never wet. So this is slightly-ish. You're halfway there. Okay, this is what I mean by done. I mean, you could see if I can shake it. Didn't even move. If yours are not that solid as they come, you can't even shake them loose, then you are not done. And if they are not like this, I mean, they are as stiff and as bright white as you can get them. Probably not in this lighting. But do you see that? I mean, they're not going anywhere. If they are not that stiff, you are not done. Do not add the powder until they look like that, until you can pretty much pick them up in a ball and throw them at someone. You want them as stiff as they can get. Then you are allowed to put the powder in. And again, because this damn powder is expensive, this is just the half batch. So this is the 6 eggs. You can get away with one tablespoon, or heaping, ball-shaped tablespoon of egg white powder, and then about, this is a half teaspoon, little spoon, so like, kind of a heaping teaspoon. And then you're not turning on the spinners and just beating the shit out of them. You want to very carefully incorporate this in, because you put so much work into whipping these egg whites. You don't want to now and go and flatten them, because what makes this work is egg white molecules hold on to themselves. They don't really like a lot of things in there. Like, I've even added things like cinnamon, and they go flat. It was just something like that. And suddenly it breaks the bond around that bubble of air. So you kind of just want to incorporate this, not beat it. So, it's kind of the 2 steps, right? So you got the allulose and the cream of tartar. Cream of tartar keeps the egg whites from overbeating. It's an acid. If you don't have cream of tartar, you can also use like a distilled white vinegar. It kind of does the same thing. As otherwise, you have the option of overbeating them, and then they'll go flat as well. So they're kind of a delicate thing. They are and they aren't. Like, you can literally beat the snot out of them if you add cream of tartar, but if you don't, you can overbeat them and they'll go flat. And so now these are ready to be piped. And then so we're gonna put them in the piping bag. I tend to put it in a cup, just so that, as you're putting the whites in there, it's not falling over. You don't have to have anyone to help you. You just fold down the sides, put it in a cup, and then you can just shove the whites in. You see, your pan should not be over-greased. If it's too greased, they'll overspread, and they'll have these like fat lips on the outside of the buns. So they'll be flat on the bottom and a little bit puffy on the top. You don't want that. You want to make sure you pipe them in the exact shape that you want them to come out when they're done, because they're not going to change much. So what I do is I just start in the middle, kind of work my way out. Or you could start on the outside and work your way in. Either way is okay. And just stop when you get to about the shape and the size you want, about like that. And this tends to have 2 or 3 layers. So then you just pipe exactly the same shape onto it. And then the third layer tends to be the custard. I make them as high as I can until they run out. So you can see we've got our bases, that's with the 2 layers on. And we have about anywhere from like 25% to a third of the bowl for the 6 buns left over. So I've found that the best ratio for the custard is if you're making 6 buns, then you want half that in yolks. So for 6 buns, we would have 3 yolks. And you are absolutely, utterly not using the mixers. You're not even stirring this, you're folding it. It's a baby and you're just tucking him in. You need to put the sheets in, you know, the little soft blanket. You can't wake him up. You're just folding. And you just want to kind of slowly, carefully incorporate that in. If you use too little egg white, or if you use too many yolks, it will go completely flat. And it's not necessary, you don't have to add back in the egg yolks if you just want plain white looking bread. That's totally fine. They smell better, they smell sweet, they have this kind of more filling taste and texture, and plus they're all golden and absolutely gorgeous when they're baking. And then you're going to pipe that in as well, so just use your same dirty piping bag. Just carefully put that in. It has slightly less structure because now we've incorporated a fat into those beaten protein and air molecules, but it has just enough left to where it should stand up on its own. That's how you know you've got the ratio right. About 25% to a third of the dough is left over for these custards once you've piped everything else. Okay, so this is the final step, and make sure you've preheated the oven, or else your cooking time, there's a little white left in the bag, or else your cooking time will be much longer. It'll be inconsistent. It'll be a lot harder to measure it. And you just go and top them until the bag is empty and they're ready to bake. As you can see, they're all piped, but I do one more step, because as I mentioned, whatever shape you leave them in, that is how they're going to come out. So these would look like weirdo hurricanes with Hershey Kisses in the middle. We don't want that. So I like them to be smooth on the top. I don't know, it's you know, just smoother, because if you leave pointed peaks on them, the peaks can burn, and while the other parts are less cooked. So I like to smooth them out like nice, fluffy, but gently. You don't want to press too hard. You worked really hard to get them nice and high and light like that. The oven is preheated. I have a gas oven of only 1 rack, so I can only cook them in the middle. And then while they are baking, give everything a rinse. Not the bag doesn't matter. But if you don't, this egg yolk pieces, your second 6 in the other half of the batch, if you're making all 12, they will go completely flat. So just rinse that, and that. Rinse everything and completely dry it. If you leave water The water molecules will keep the protein molecules from holding on to themselves, and they will not be as fluffy. And you see how they're kind of golden and crackled? What I like to do is turn the oven off and then just leave them with the door cracked open a little bit. Let that hot, dry... Just let the hot, dry air kind of let them sit for about 6 or 7 minutes. This is after they've sat in the oven in the dry air. You could see they will fall a tiny bit, but still enough to get your mouth around them.